All right, welcome to part two of the Battle of Grossbeeren. If you haven't watched part one, I'll go ahead. There will be check the description. There will be a link to that, and also part one of the connected battlefield. If you can imagine, if you go down to the end of my table and you look to continue going that direction, you would virtually run into a table in Australia that is another 12 or 13 feet long, with a connected battle that's happening over at Check Your Leader TV. So I will put a link to Scott's battle over there. We're doing this simultaneously. We're breaking it into groups of 4 turns to get people's opinion on what the coalition should do. And I get my orders directly from Scott, who's playing in this battle, or these 2 battles, Marshal Ney, who is in overall command of this attack on Grossbeeren and Blankenfelde. So it's kind of cool. I just have to roll dice, try to be funny and entertaining a little bit, and enjoy it. Everything's just kind of being spoon-fed to me to tell me what to do tactically, which is probably a good thing because I am a combat ineffective. All right, so just to rehash a couple things, I'm going to have to fix a couple things on my board. Thank you for everyone who's corrected me on a couple things I got wrong. I'm sure you guys missed. I will just say, I bet I made more mistakes than the 2 they caught. But let's be honest. And but one has right where my camera's pointed in the woods here. The French Légers, when they go into skirmish order, if they're not veteran or elite, they can't go into skirmish order unless they're in cover. So, I went into skirmish order a little bit too quickly, a little bit before they went in the woods. So that would have been red flag number 1. And then also they have to have one parent unit from the brigade in line formation for them to kind of be within 18 inches of. So, yes, I can have my Légers, my 3 brigade battalions of that brigade in the woods there because they are aligned. But I have to basically take this unit off here to the left and pull them back and put them in line formation back behind there. I kind of think I could gloss through the rules there, or kind of just blaze through them like I usually do. And I have a bad habit of when I get emails, I'll read like the first line. I gotta kind of slow down and read the rest of it. But I'll change that. These guys didn't have a huge effect on combats thus far, so it's not going to be a huge thing, but that's a correction that I can do very quickly. So in a minute, you'll see those Légers reform back here in that line, the skirmish formation of their 4 bases remaining skirmishes. I think it's 4 left. They'll be sitting right there to the left. The other one was had to do with this corps back here. Kind of zoom in a little bit. They are in the midst of redeploying. That takes 1 ADC. So I should have put an ADC down and then rolled for them to move across the battlefield. They haven't got that far yet, so not a huge deal. But I'll go ahead and we'll remedy that on the next ADC roll, and they'll pay the ADC cost. And a couple of the coalition commanders who have commented via email and on comments on the video have suggested that maybe another brigade does the same thing. So I had ideas for moving forward here, attacking on the right, and for moving across and reinforcing. So I'm going to try to meet them both ways and slide a couple units over to reinforce the Prussian left, and then also start pushing a little bit on the right to try to distract the French. Not sure if it's going to work. We'll give it a whirl, see how it goes. You might see these gentlemen going into a attack column and moving forward, just to try to take some of the heat off, especially what the Swiss are doing. You thought they were just good at making chocolate, but they are storming through towards New Baron, and they're probably going to attack there pretty soon. Their reinforcements are trying to catch up, and all that. But those were the mistakes I made. Those are some of the tactical suggestions I got, and I appreciate everyone who took part and who's commented, who's enjoyed or watched these videos, and liked and all that fun stuff. It's just the fact that this channel is doing as well as I think, for me it feels like it's doing amazingly well, and I just appreciate everyone who's helped and supported me. And I probably would do this anyway with no one watching, but it makes the hobby that much better, interacting with you guys, and then forming the friendship I have with Scott has been amazing. So this is great. So I'll stop being mushy, and we'll get on with this battle as it turns 11 a.m. and as we enter into turn 5 at the Battle of Grossbeeren. I know Scott's already started his, so I've got to hustle to keep up with my man. And we do have, I believe, 2 faltering brigades, one on this side and one over there for the French. So we got 1 Prussian brigade, 1 French brigade, and those guys will be pivotal to getting themselves back together again. And I've also reprinted some of the cards I made mistakes on for the identification units. I found I had 2 General Oppens. I think I took a Prussian general and made him a French general too. He was actually a Prussian general. So we've got a new guy appearing for the French, and we'll fix that. And okay, so hang in there, and we will get to fighting here momentarily as we begin rolling ADCs. Core order dice, starting with the French, because Marshal Oudinot won the initiative last turn. And also, one last order of business. Scott released the cavalry, the regiment of Carbiniers and 2 regiments of cuirassiers from his table last turn. So I do not need to roll for them to appear. He's already taken care of the business. They also have a battery of horse artillery with them, which I've never used on my table. So to simulate a little bit here. And they, if you could imagine it, beyond my table's horizon back there, they are moving across the back and are somewhere a little bit left of that water heater. As they, so they won't just show up over here. They're moving across the back of the battlefield, and they're kind of they're going to sit in reserve until they're called forward, and then they will move on during the tactical movement phase. But they will not require any further dice rolls or ADCs by me, and they will join. They're actually going to join Marchand's 24th Division in the center. So yeah, maybe they can start helping fill the gap of. All the artillery is getting eviscerated by the Prussians on the French left and center. All right, I've corrected the Légère. Now we've got the 4th Battalion, 1st Brigade, 24th is maintaining in line behind the gentlemen that are the 3 battalions that are in skirmish order in the woods. The skirmish bases have been placed right there. No real massive effect on the battle at all. And they even kept their casualty they wouldn't have gotten. And those gentlemen, will just correct them in the ADC roll-off. And I've fixed a couple of tags that I messed up earlier. And when I was trying to fix them, I found another mistake. But it's okay. They got rid of the 2 General Oppens. And now we've got, and that's everything else is fixed. So, boom. Okay. Let's do some core orders. And we'll start with Marshal Oudinot. Alright, the brain trust ends up with the black dice and the blue dice. We'll go over to Laptiev and see how he does with the Prussian command. And he gets everything except for the black die. Alright, now rolling for ADCs. I gotta remember that now General Marchand will have 5 dice to roll too, now that the cavalry has attached to him. So an absolute disaster. General Richard gets 0 ADCs. Marshal Oudinot did not get the red die, so he can't give anything to him. So he has a faltering brigade, so he's going to get an automatic soit qui paie on the faltered brigade, which, oh. So let's take care of Martel's nightmare right now. What? Oh, 1st Brigade of the 23rd Division. They, after watching their cavalry just get explode, these guys have 2 brigades of reservists, 2 brigades of recruits. Just a collective groan as they falter. The skirmish line disperses. They run into the woods. They're gone. They don't have any artillery because that's what caused this disaster. That would have gone low on ammo. They retreat back to the baseline, and all 4 battalions take 4 D6 combat dice of damage, which is basically just simulating guys just running. If every die is 50 dudes, they could lose 200 guys out of the 600 really quick. So out of those 2,400 French soldiers, about 750 guys, is that right? 350 guys take off and leave the unit, and never to be seen again. They're on their way back to France. Wow. And the brigade remains faltering. So that, if I was debating about going across and attacking that side of the board, that has been, any kind of doubt has been erased as that unit is incinerating. All right, see if the Prussians can do any better on their ADCs. Can't do any worse. At least they have 1 red die they could throw down for an emergency if Vulich has massive issues on his ADCs. All right, much better as General Borstal gets 4 ADCs, General Kraft in the center gets 5, and General Vulich gets 3 on the left. All right, we already know the nightmare that's occurred here. They have no ADCs, so let's see if both of these brigades are active for General Richard. All right, those are both active. That's horrible. You know what? I forgot. He could have played Chief of Staff for no points. Oh, I'm going to let him do it. I'm going to take those casualties away and bring back the skirmish bases too. And he's going to play Chief of Staff. Reroll all those 4 misses plus the 2 plus 2 extra ones. If I got too far down the line, I wouldn't have let them do that. But I hadn't really moved on to the next General Marchand's division yet. So, all right. So he's getting up with 6 ADCs. He'll have to re-roll everything now, but he is going to put 2 into these gentlemen for a divisional morale. And then he's going to do skirmish tasking plus re-rolls for both of these brigade commanders. So if you hadn't seen that horrible sequence of events, that would have looked like the biggest waste of Chief of Staff in the world. Everything's been returned to the way it should be. Martel's brigade is following orders, but is hesitant. These 2 guys have both followed their, the other 2 brigades, 2nd and 3rd Brigade, both got off skirmish taskings, and all is right with the world. And General Richard can change his shorts. Should have worn the brown pants. All right, I was racking my brain there trying to figure out a way to dig that out. I didn't think of Chief of Staff till a couple seconds in. Now we can go over to... apologize for that. That should... But that's how you dig it out there in the end. Go over to General Marchand, and he's got 4 ADCs to use. All right, he's going to do 3 skirmish taskings on the Léger, the 3 battalions that are forward in skirmish order in the woods, and they're going to get a re-roll as well. His other 2 brigades are going to be on their own. I'll actually roll for the cavalry brigade that's off table, just in case we do decide to bring them in on the tactical movement phase. And he rolls like there's no tomorrow. Everything's skirmish tasking in there, so it's going to be lots of extra shots going into the boys in there. And I did forget that General Bowerman was also dealing with a faltering brigade after he was repulsed from attacking the eastern half of Grossbeeren. This brigade here, under Belair, had 2 retreating units. So he would have been in a similar boat to his compatriot on the far side of the battlefield. He's got 5 ADCs to play with. General Bowerman has already used 1 CNC command already. For that chief of, now he plays chief of staff. He played, what was it? One of the offensive ones. Post of honor, trying to get into the building there. All right, for his 5, he'll use 2 here. 1 for the divisional morale, and 1 for a reroll. Got the fingers up to keep track of this. Use 2 up here, 1 for a reroll, 1 for a glory. They don't need infantry assault because they're going in against the built-up area. That's 4, and then a reroll right here. So when the dice roll, that's 1st Brigade. That's 2nd Brigade. This is 3rd Brigade, and that's 4th Brigade. So just going down with the red, orange, green, blue. I technically didn't roll enough dice for 3rd Brigade, but I got a 6, so no point re-rolling it. They actually made it tougher on themselves and did well. 4th Brigade is hesitant again. These horses are just completely checked out. These guys are, I don't know what they're doing. They're totally out of it. They've been hesitant since for a long time. Everybody's going to pass. These guys did really good. They're going to follow commands, but they're going to be hesitant, and everything else will go on in. I got all discombobulated by that Swake Poo. I was like, oh my gosh, my brain shut down. I think I burned up all my brain power trying to figure out a way to save that brigade over there. All right, Laptiev is going to use the white die and switch the corps orders for 8th Division Borstal going on the offensive. I'm going to try to draw some heat away from his left. He can cross over the midline and start advancing into French-held territory. Borstal has to use 1 for redeploy just to correct that wrong I did. So he's going to have 3 left. So he's going to give everybody a ADC reroll, and then this 1 redeploy. Everything is following commands for the 8th Division, and they'll be moving out. Good for them. Kraft in the 17th Division, he's got 5 ADCs. He's going to go buck wild. They're going to go artillery assault, or assault fire, whatever you want to call it. Assault fire is probably easier for me to say, with a reroll on 2nd Brigade, and then give straight up rerolls to 1st and 3rd Brigade, just to avoid any kind of initiative penalty. A bunch of scary ones, but everything's following orders over here, and the assault fire will go off from 2nd Brigade's artillery and 17th Division. And then we get over to the Nightmare over here with 3 ADCs. He's going to use 2 of them immediately for the brigade morale and also the reroll. Yuck. I'm going to give glory to 3rd Brigade 16th Division under Megenhofer, defending Kleinbeeren, just to try to give them a better chance of standing up to this Swiss grinding machine. So they will have glory. They are hesitant, and they're following orders over here. Outstanding. And yeah, that was a bit of a struggle getting through the order phase. It was fun though. At least I got to review the Swake stuff and everything else. Probably still can't pronounce it right, but that's all right. And now we'll go on to initiative, where both sides will be rolling 2 dice. No penalties there. All right, here we go. Oh, both sides end up with a 7. The French won initiative last turn. So Augereau is way down south. Oudinot wins the initiative, and French will go first. Go into the charge phase. The Swiss going in like there's no tomorrow. They're going to switch it up and send in 3rd Battalion this time. It only has 1 casualty. They're going to keep this battalion over here kind of fresh. I think it's 1st Battalion, just in case they got to attack this way or do this again. And I guess I'll move everybody else up to the wall, and they can send who they want in if this goes to a 2nd phase of combat. As they come up to the wall, the garrison will fire 5 shots into these gentlemen. They do put a 2nd casualty on that 3rd Battalion of the Swiss line troops. There's no other charges this turn. So now we'll go on into the movement phase. And woof, here we go. Alright, lots of subtle moves, a lot of big moves. These gentlemen changed into attack column. These guys did too. They're preparing to advance and to push on the French left. This artillery is elevated, so it can't fire over them. That's their big move. That guy's got the redeploy order. They went in march column. These guys just did not move at all. They're just kind of sitting here waiting. They don't have orders to really do anything. They're supposed to look pretty out here and take cannonballs and musket shots. They do have their skirmish orders in for these 2 skirmish lines. They'll get to shoot before... I've got to pick up those skirmish bases right there. They only have 2, so they're going to disappear in the movement phase. These guys kind of pulled back close to their parent unit. They're going to engage these Fusiliers out here. A big thing is the horse artillery came rolling in and unlimbered. 3 squadrons of heavy French cavalry have arrived. The Grenadier des Cheval of La Garde Impériale are basically going to be the cuirassiers, and the cuirassiers and the carbineers are going to be cuirassier units. These gentlemen moved here. They stayed there. They've got their skirmish orders. Bavarians moved up. Skirmishers out front. Austrians converted into, they're Austrians, but they're Prussian unit. They converted into attack column, put their skirmishers out front. These guys pulled back, remained unformed out of the way, opening up the artillery shooting. They didn't move. These guys advanced. They were able to get their skirmishers up onto the hill to block any other skirmishers from getting in here. They'll shoot at that artillery as well. Kind of move them back a little bit. They could shoot enough inches to stay out of the way of the artillery. These guys are up against the wall. These gentlemen switched into attack column, prepared to counterattack against the Swiss. These guys went into attack column, like I said. Most of these units were retreating. They've spent their turn reforming and shaking their retreating status. This unit passed through this unit, so if they need support, they're not going to get support from a unit with 8 casualties. These guys are holding Grossbeeren. They stayed the same. These are the Prussians moving to the left flank. They're moving across the back of the battlefield with their redeploy order under the command of Herdig. The center's holding with the line battalions out there. Nothing really going on. Probably going to take some artillery fire from that horse artillery is pulled up. And wow. Turn 5 is the turn of craziness. Alright, so French have initiative. We'll get into skirmish shooting. We'll start over on the closest side to me over here on the west side is Martel's skirmish screen. They thought they were dispersed, but they came back. Take 5 shots at these Jaegers in front of them. These 2 skirmish screens are going to use their skirmish taskings and engage these Jaegers out in front of them now that they've eviscerated 1. They're both going to get 6 shots. They blow away a skirmish base from those guys with 3 casualties. They're going to force a discipline check on them as well, which they pass. Awesome. Alright, now we'll get these 4 skirmish bases of Léger firing at these Fusiliers. They're going to get 5 shots at them. All right, they do one casualty to them. They had one base with two, so they lose the skirmish base. Now we're getting the 3 Leger battalions. They would get 7 shots each, but they all lose 2. So they're all going to get 5 shots against these guys here in the garrison. Absolutely horrible skirmish shooting. Only able to do 2 casualties with all those shots. They just blast into the walls. These guys will fire 4 shots at the oncoming Prussian Jaegers. No effect on them, and then these guys will shoot at the artillery. They'd have 5 shots, they go down to 4 because the thing's in cover. A very strategic hit, raising them to 6. Oh, nice shooting. Okay, now we go over to Prussian shooting. These 4 Jaeger bases fire back at these Bavarian skirmishers with 5 shots. They do a casualty on them. I'd forgotten to put my cotton balls down. Couldn't go without that. So a little bit of a pause there, but you didn't notice because I was just putting down a bunch of cotton balls. All right, these guys aren't going to pay the penalty. They're going to pay 5 shots and shooting these Duchy of Warsaw guys that are actually Bavarians. They put 2 casualties onto them. These guys can fire. They'll fire at this. They'll fire at those skirmishers there. The garrison on the west side of Grossbeeren. Nice shooting by the garrison, doing 2 casualties, taking away a skirmish base. These 3 Fusilier bases will fire 4 shots back at those gentlemen. Having no effect. These 3 bases will fire 4 shots at those guys, trying to take them out of the equation. Good shooting by them. 3 6s and a 1, but still only causes 1 casualty. They go up to 2 on there. And now the garrison will fire 5 shots straight ahead into the Italians, which causes a casualty on the Italians. They're up to 2 now. And the final skirmish shooting will be these guys over here, the Jaegers, firing 4 shots ahead at the Miracle Brigade, which takes them up to 2 casualties. All right, now going over to artillery. Of course, the French have lost 2 batteries. I just stabbed myself in the leg with my table. That felt so good. I failed my discipline check. Ouch. These guys will fire at those guns on the hill. Just be inferior battery fire, which doesn't cause a casualty. These guys just pulled up. They're under no obligation to fire at anybody. So they're going to fire at effective range at these guys with bounce through. Since they did unlimber, they'll take a penalty for that. But they're horse artillery, so it's cool. And they're going to fire inferior battery fire against these gentlemen. Obviously, when they were trying to rapidly deploy, a couple guys got run over by guns. They take a fatigue casualty. Wow. And then the last 2 French guns will fire a weak battery fire against these gentlemen up here in the redoubt. They're up to 8 casualties. These guys are going to fire. Actually, I measured it out. That is just in long range. They're too close, so they can't shoot at all. You have to shoot in their arc because they're hesitant. So there's nothing to shoot at, even though there's plentiful targets. It's just a range problem for them. If it was long range, they'd be great if they weren't hesitant, but they're hesitant, so they're out of it. We'll go over to the mega guns over here. These guys are going to team up and try to destroy that battery over there. One is on assault fire, one is not. Both of them are going to be inferior fire from at long range. Battery gets blasted for 3 casualties. They go up to 6. They take a discipline check. Now is reservist, looking for an 8. Clutch discipline check by those gentlemen. Good job. And these guys are going to make Martel's brigade pay for coming back. They're going to fire. Both guns are going to fire on that battalion right there. They're both on assault fire. They're both at long range. And they'll both get an extra CD for firing at a column. First Battalion, 1st Brigade, 8th Division, Reserve Battalion gets nailed for 5 casualties. They got to take a discipline check. A reservist, of course, looking for an 8. They're going to go unformed, and boom, that'll end the artillery phase. We don't have any volley fire, so we'll get right into the hand-to-hand as the Swiss continue their march to the sea. I think they're Sherman or something. As they go in against Kleinbären. Black dice will be the Prussians. They're going to have 6 because they have glory. The Swiss are going to be the white dice. They're going to have 5 because they have glory, but they lose a die for attacking a built-up area the first turn. And yeah, they have glory too, I guess. All right, here we go. 1st Battalion, 3rd Brigade, 16th Division hits a home run. They get 5 casualties. They inflict 5 casualties. They blow the Swiss way back 18 inches. They're up to 7 casualties now. They form up back there in retreat status. The Prussians take 2 themselves, and they are victorious as they repulse that attack. Risk for General now with what's this guy? General Dietrich. He had a glory in effect, and his unit got blown to pieces. All right, he survives. He'll fall back. Glory is gone. Woohoo! Sorry, I'm taking a film of nothing. All right, and that'll end turn 5. Sorry, it was a little rough there. I think between working today and then being excited to play and then immediately facing that Swake Poo, it just threw my brain into a complete loop. Ended up being a great turn. Got a lot of cool stuff going on. Following some advice from some channel members and some friends of the channel, where Prussians are enacting their plan, pushing on their right, and then reinforcing the left. So we're getting the best of both worlds. I think it was kind of 50-50 split, so I'm just basically doing both of them. And we got a lot of cool things going on. Plus, we've got more cavalry on the table, and Prussian artillery continues to is kind of dictating the battlefield right now. They've got superiority. They're inflicting casualties. They're into chewing up units. Could be the difference maker now. I might have to send some cavalry on a suicide charge, and when Scott hears this, he's going to cringe because Marshal Ney doesn't want to lose his cuirassiers and carbineers in a suicidal attack against infantry. Woo! All right, you guys are awesome. We'll see you at 11:30. Alright, welcome to turn 6. And someone brought up a good point. I haven't done one of my overhead views this game. Or if I have, they haven't been frequent enough. Starting on the southwest corner of the battlefield, see the French down here. We'll get those gentlemen up there. Pretty static. These guys haven't moved, just skirmishers. More Frenchies. More skirmishers. French artillery. French commanders, that's command staff there. Here comes French cavalry and their horse artillery. And this is where it gets a little bit stupid over here. We got French in the woods, French going around the woods, French artillery, more French cavalry, more French steaming ahead. We get into Kleinbären. where we just had the first wave of the Swiss kicked out. Getting the Prussians back here on the back left. On Vulich's division over here, defending the eastern half of Grossbeeren. Got some troops that got beat earlier back here, just in case I missed it. There's a better view. Trying to get it nice and high. Sorry if my volume's quiet. Trying to help out. And we got boys from Borstel's division crossing over with the redeploy order. There's the western half of Grossbeeren. Prussian line in the center between Grossbeeren and New Beeren. There's New Beeren. Now we've got the Prussian attack rolling forward from Borstel's division with artillery support. And that's the full circle. Sorry I didn't do that before. That works out well. Alright, let's get on with the action. It's 11:30, it's turn 6. Is that right? Yeah. And let's roll some corps orders. The French won initiative last turn, so Oudinot will be going first. He's going to get everything except for riding the line, which he won't be doing this turn. Now we'll flick over to Laptiev and see how he does with his corps orders. He's firing on all cylinders as he gets everything. Alright, now we'll start off with the French divisions all rolling for their ADCs, all in one big shabil shebang-a-bang. General Borstal will get 4 ADCs. I'm reading the wrong one, sorry. General Richard will have 4 ADCs. General Marchand in the center will have 3 ADCs. And General Bowerman on the French right will have 4 ADCs. Alright, time for the Prussian divisional commanders to roll their ADC availabilities. General Borstal gets 3. General Kraft gets 4. Is that right? No, sorry. He also gets 3. And then General Vuich on the left gets 2. Alright. So now we can go on into assigning ADCs and rolling for which brigades are active. We'll start off with General Richard on the French left. He'll do a re-roll on all 3 of his brigades, and then do a skirmish tasking on Martel's 1st Brigade of the 23rd Division. Everything is active for him. We'll go over to Marchand in the center. He has 3 ADCs. He'll do a re-roll on all 3 of his brigades. Bowerman is going to do a re-roll. He has 4 ADCs, a re-roll on all 3 of his infantry brigades. Leave the cavalry alone. He's going to be the recipient of the black die, or is it the white die, excuse me, from General Oudinot, or Marshal Oudinot, excuse me. He's going to play the sappers. I got 2 my sapper guys from my Vistula Legion. They're going to join that Swiss unit. And they're going to go three deep with sappers against Klein Baron, and they're also going to get glory on top of that reroll. Well, shocked face. DeRute's cavalry shuts it down again. I don't think they've been active yet. So they're sitting over there, but everything else is going in or moving, non-hesitant. All right. Wow. Okay, these guys are on vacation. These gentlemen are going in hard. We'll start over here with Vuich has got 2 ADCs. Oh, they're going to give him the red ADC. He's going to get a 3rd ADC. And then he's going to spend an ADC on all 3 of his brigades to keep them active. Everything's active for Vuich. That's good stuff. General Kraft in the center. He's got 3 ADCs. He's going to do the same technique, 1 on each one of his brigades. He's also active on everything. And then finishing up, we might as well keep this show rolling. Borstal's going to do the exact same thing. So everyone's active for all divisions for both sides, and we'll go ahead and roll a straight up initiative with 2 dice. French will win ties. Laptiev is back. He wins initiative. All right. The Prussians have no charges. The French do, which is actually a Swiss unit going in against Kleinbären with the sappers. The garrison will fire 5 shots at the closing Swiss unit. That does 2 casualties to those gentlemen, and that'll end the charge phase. That'll get finished at the melee section of the game. Now we do movement first. Prussians moving first, followed by the French. All right, we'll do another fly over the battlefield, starting in the northeast corner around the redoubt. Kleinbären still under pressure. We've got some gentlemen moving up here, an attack column to try to support it. They're still behind the halfway point, so they're totally legal still. They haven't got the order to convert yet. Coming up to support them, 2 more brigade attack columns. Belair has actually got his boys turned around after being repulsed from the eastern half of New Bern. He's over here now, 3rd in line to go up against Kleinbären. French cavalry still chilling back here, having a good time. There'll be no grass there when they get done. French continue their push towards that area right there, leaving that gap for their artillery. Other French cavalry held still. French lines and Prussian lines kind of static down here in the center until we get to the western half of the battlefield, where we start seeing the Prussian attack columns moving forward to attack the French lines that have been pounded by artillery. And then, of course, go back down the Prussian line. We're still seeing these gentlemen in the middle of their redeploy and march column coming across the back of the Prussian lines. Destination, and they have an attack order, so they don't have to wait. They are part of Borstel's division that got orders to continue on, and it's just a mess over here. I love it. All right, now with 3rd Brigade, 16th Division kind of moving out, even though they're hard pressed here in Kleinbären, they're able to get their skirmishers back out, kind of repulse back the French skirmishers here, and get them away from their artillery. And that's where we'll start shooting with 5 Jaeger bases of Prussians against the French skirmishers up front. Now, I think I said 5 bases. It was 4 Jaeger bases shooting 5 shots, so I apologize if I said that wrong. Over here, 4 Jaeger bases firing 5 shots at those French Légers. Or I guess they're Voltigeurs. Sorry about that. They put a casualty on them. Now we'll get this garrison. They'll fire again at these Bavarians who look a little bit like Duchy of Warsaw troops. They take a casualty, go up to 3. We'll get the the western half of Grossbeeren. They're going to fire at the Voltigeurs over there. They'll go ahead and they'll lose a base. So they'll take 1 casualty. That's the first casualty on that new base there. Now we'll get this Fusiliers firing 4 shots at that same gentleman. They put a 2nd casualty on them. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong guys. There they are over there. Now we'll get these Jaegers up front. They'll fire 4 shots at the French Légers right there. They do a casualty then, removing a skirmish base. They're down to 2 in the next movement phase. They'll withdraw. And then the garrison of Kleinbären, New Bern, excuse me, will fire 5 shots at these skirmishers out front of the Italians. They do a casualty to them. The Italians will lose a base, and they'll also withdraw in the next movement phase. And the final skirmishers for the Prussians for this turn will be these 3. Will fire 4 shots into those gentlemen. They do a 3rd casualty, one of those bases. They remove 1. That's big because they had a skirmish tasking. So now we flick over to the French. They're going to get 6 shots with the skirmish tasking. Nice shooting. They blow away a skirmish screen there. The Italians will fire 3 shots at these gentlemen here. We're going to combo fire. Other groups going to fire 3 shots at them as well. They do 2 casualties with great shooting. These Leger, everyone's going to fire at eastern half of Grossbeeren. They're going to get -2 CDs for each shot, so this might not work the best. This will include their skirmish screen and all 3 light infantry battalions that are in the woods. That's what they wanted. They're up to 7 now. And yeah, that's pretty awesome. All right, so they're worn. Now we'll get this skirmish screen from the Bavarians, firing 4 shots into these Jaegers. They cause a casualty, raising them to, actually killing off a base. Now we'll get 5 shots from these guys into these Jaegers on the hill. That causes a casualty on them. Alright, that'll end the skirmish phase. Now we go over to artillery. We'll start down here. This gun's got 8 casualties, so they can't fire that far. That's too tight. They can fire at that trailing battalion. Actually, they did get fired on by... So that's a question. If they were fired on it last turn, but not this turn, do they still have to make the discipline check to resist not shooting them back? I don't know. So we'll go ahead and just roll a discipline check to see if they do it. That way we're all good. Alright, they failed the discipline check, so they'll fire back counter battery against those guns there. They'll go for the more damaged gun with they'll have 1 downgrade because they are worn. Alright, they do 1 casualty down there. Now going over to the right, we got the double gun action. They're both going to fire on the 1 French gun out there in the open, try to put it out of its misery. They're able to inflict a casualty on that gun, raising it to 7. And now we get the last 2 guns on the far right in Borstall's division. They're going to fire overhead. They'll fire just to give good separation from their own troops. They're going to fire at that Italian on the far left. Unable to find the range. Alright, French guns firing back. Alright, this battery is worn of the French. It's going to fire counter battery against this gun it's been shooting at the whole game, just with a single CD. It misses. Sorry about that. Horse artillery hasn't been fired at by anybody yet. I'm going to fire at effective range at these guys that get bounced through as they try to clip them as they come forward. That horse artillery battery that came over from Ney's corps, not doing well. They're taking themselves out. They've got 2 casualties on themselves so far. They did get a bounce through, though. They missed the initial target, but landed on the rear battalion and did a 2nd casualty to them. And then these 2 guns are going to try to fire against the redoubt and take out this guy, who's got 8 casualties now. That takes out that battery. That will falter Thuman's brigade of the 16th Division. So 1st Brigade, 16th Division falters. That'll end the artillery phase. And now we'll get the Swiss of the 1st Battalion, 3rd Brigade of the 25th Division with Glory and Seppers going against what's this place called again? Kleinbeeren. Against the Austrians with, we're actually Prussians with 2 casualties. All right, both sides are going to start off with 6 dice. The Swiss will lose 1 from attacking a built-up area. They get it right back with Glory. Then they get 2 additional with Sappers, and the Prussians will just stay at 6. So it's 8 versus 6. Here we go. Oh, this is awesome. All right. So, actually, I'll take another dice away from both these guys. They'll take 5 casualties. They'll take 4. They're worn. They're worn. Both of them are going to be unformed and worn, so they're going to go down dice. But these guys, the sappers stick around for both. The glory sticks around for both. This battalion is going to run in. Sorry, right, these guys right here. This reserve battalion. I think they're in the same brigade. Yeah, same brigade. That's 2nd Brigade. This 1st Brigade. And then these guys are going to jump in too. So it's going to be lots and lots of dice. It's going to be awesome. Oh, brutal. The French end up doing 7 casualties. The Prussians end up doing 5. Very brutal. We're going to add up the casualty figures. The Prussians are going to get thrown out of Kleinbeeren. It's going to fall to the Prussians. Oh, that's huge. Absolutely brutal. At the end of this, 1st Battalion, 3rd Brigade of the 16th Division is destroyed. They were reservists. They only take 10 casualties. General Magenhofer is now faltering. These guys, 2nd Brigade of the same, 2nd Battalion of the same brigade has got 7 casualties and is shoved back here. I don't like to right off the board, even though it's on the edge. You got to get one chance where you get blown away. The Swiss have occupied, unformed, and the other Swiss battalion is right there with 6 casualties and 4 casualties. They're both unformed. General, what the heck's this guy named Dietrich with the Swiss battalion or brigade is occupied Kleinbeeren, and they basically have severed the line that connects the Laptiev's Corps to Tauzion. Oh, big push by the French. They were able to break through. That was their orders there. And now their second order is to take the eastern half of Grossbeeren. So here we go. And that'll finish turn 6, heading into turn 7. It's 12 p.m. It's lunchtime. These guys aren't slowing down. Marshal Oudinot is frantically writing a note, or he's actually told General Bertrand or Marshal Bertrand to write it for him, his chief of staff. Start writing, Bertrand, you freak. Notifying Marshal Ney that they've achieved their first objective as he sees the flag going up above Kleinbeeren. I'm not sure how long he's going to hold it. I think there'll be a Prussian counterattack in the next couple of seconds. But right now, it is in French hands. Okay, here we go. We'll see you in turn 7. Alright, it's noon. Do a quick little high angle fly around the battlefield, starting in the southwest corner, across the center here, behind the French line, if you can't tell. Try not to drag my feet. Making the turn to the far eastern edge. Kind of probably walking over Scott's table right now. Oh, Kleinbeeren has fallen. But a lot of Prussians there to counterattack. On the back edge of the Prussian line in the center here. That's just nuts over there. And then we get into the back where we started from almost. All right, that's your little circle around the battlefield. Let's get over here. Laptiev won initiative last turn, so let's roll his core orders first. He gets everything but the red. Let's fly over to the brain trust over there. Marshal Oudinot screaming at Marshal Bertrand to scribe the note about Kleinbeeren falling, trying to inform their commander on the right that they can join up with him now that they've severed the Prussian line, at least for a moment. All right, see how many corps he has. Oh, he's fired up. He's got them all. All right, now let's go over to the Prussians again, and we'll do all their brigades ADC rolls at once. All right, Vujic has got 4 CNC command. 4 ADCs. He's got 2 faltering brigades. So he's going to do stand with me with one of them, and then do a re-roll and a divisional morale with the other. All right, 1st Brigade has 4 infantry battalions intact. So that's going to be the stand with me. And then 3rd Brigade has got boom, boom, and boom. I don't know if I got them all in there while I was pointing at stuff. It's got those 2. This one back here. They'll be the rally. And that is 3rd Brigade, yep. And then 2nd Brigade is in here protecting Grossbeeren. We'll let that simmer for a little while. We'll come back. We'll stay in the same order as we usually do. I got kind of excited. We're going to go ahead and roll ADC availability for the French divisional commanders. All 3 French divisional commanders get 3. All right, now let's see what the Prussians are going to do. All right, it's time for Borstal to get serious. He's going to do post of honor. Join up with 1st Battalion, 8th Division, with who's the guy? Schulter, and lead his boys in to attack. He's going to use the forwards move and not get the extra dice in the attack. He's going in against those guys back there. He's trying to slaughter them. So he's got 5 ADCs to play with here. So he's got 3 left. So he's going to give these guys a forwards and a reroll, and they're going to start heading towards the Italians. So Wagner's 2nd Brigade guarding New Baron, they shut it down. They go hesitant. Everything else is going to happen, and they're going to go buck wild. We'll get a charge. We'll get forwards. Artillery are both going to have forwards tasking, so they're going to move over here somewhere and try to join the one big firing line in the center. With 3 ADCs, Kraft's just going to basically give 1 to each one of his brigades just to make sure he's not causing trouble for initiative. Oh boy. All right, we're going to go back in time here. This roll will count, but I forgot. I've been intermingling brigades. So these guys actually belong to Kraft. So stand by. All right, we're going to restart this again because I'm not too far down the rabbit hole yet. Schluter is going to get the post of honor, which will automatically go through, and he'll slam into those guys. 2nd Brigade is Wagner. He'll just get a reroll. I think I'm going to actually have to do something cool with him because I want his artillery to move. Don't worry about it. We'll just have 1st Brigade's artillery move. 2nd Brigade will hold still. That'll be... And I'm going to have a couple extra... I'm going to go with the same kind of stuff. All right. He'll use 2. I paused because didn't want you guys to have to put up with my thought process. He'll use 2 for post of honor. He'll get nothing. We're going to get a forwards on his 3rd Brigade, which is over here. I forgot these guys were the moving. They're going to get a forwards and a reroll. So, and they'll use their regular move to change formation and use the forward for everything else. And that'll be that. Okay. And it kind of works out exactly the same as Wagner still remains hesitant. These guys with their forwards tasking, even though it's looking at a wrong brigade, is going to pay off. These gentlemen are going to switch into attack column and go up that road, whatever their forwards tasking is, and try to take some pressure off the eastern edge. These guys are attached to Borstal's division, so they have they can cross over. They have an offensive order. Speaking of which, Laptiev is going to spend the white order dice and give Kraft the he can advance now past the midline. So that allowed that brigade, this brigade, to begin advancing towards the French. And speaking of Kraft, he will do forwards and a reroll on is it Steinwehr over here, and then these two other brigades will be on their own. All right, they pass. Nice. Okay. Now we can go down to what I discussed originally. So at that point of the game where it's like you got to do something crazy to keep this from. You can't just do the same thing over and over again and expect it to change. Because right now the French are pushing so hard on the Prussian left. All right, now I've got to do. These guys got too much faltering stuff. So we're doing the same thing. First Brigade is going to get stand with me. Vulich will do that. And then we'll get it's like, is this 3rd Brigade? I think it is. Yeah, 3rd Brigade is going to get the divisional morale plus a reroll, and that'll be all 4 of his ADCs. So 2nd Brigade is in here all by themselves with nothing. So Magenhofer rallies to hesitant. Thuman, post of honor. So actually, Vuich would be with them, firing them up. And then what's Holzendorf is also following commands in there, inside of the eastern half of Grossbeeren. Oh boy, here we go, French time. Bowerman's going to go crazy. He's going to put everything into 1st Brigade, infantry assault, glory, and a reroll, steamrolling into those gentlemen right there. Now that the redoubt has been abandoned because the artillery has been blasted out of there, that'll buy time for the Swiss to recover, and yeah, that'll do it. There goes hesitant. Durut is actually the first time ever has fallen commands. I think Bowerman went over there and talked to him. Probably ran a saber through his second in command. Said, dude, start doing what I tell you. That's that. All right. Marchand is going to join the Bavarians, do post of honor, attack that. Napoleon is going to give him sappers. With these guys, because he had all 4 core dice, and with the extra dice that Marchand had left over, he's going to give it to Birch, and just so the cavalry could start moving. Bardette's boys go hesitant. They're going in. Yeah, this mess. They're going to move forward, I think. 1st Brigade. Cavalry's good to go. And things should be happening over here. And then to finish up, Richard is just going to do 1 for each one of his 3 brigades. A reroll. Everything's active for him. Now we're just going to do, we'll do the light blue will be the French, and the dark blue will be the Prussians for initiative. It was hard to tell them apart. I hope you could tell with your vision. I was like looking into a glare for myself. Oudinot wins initiative. Yes. And we'll start doing crazy things here right now. All right. 4 charges. 3rd Brigade, 24th, goes in against the eastern portion of Grossbeeren. And the boys are back, if you can see them. The sappers make a reappearance to join the Bavarian vanguard. The forlorn hope goes in over the walls. We're going to get 5 shots from the garrison into these gentlemen as they come on in. It was nice shooting by the garrison. I'm going to... they should have only got 4 shots, though. They are warned as they fire at that garrison. We're going to re-roll that again real quick. They decided to roll a complete crud on that one. I'm still going to give them 1 casualty, just because the first round of shooting was so good. Alright, that only seemed fair. French charge will go in. We'll determine that one in the melee phase against the garrison. Next up, we'll get an infantry assault from these gentlemen, going against these gentlemen to the left of the redoubt. The skirmishers will get 5 shots and take 1 CD of damage as they fall back. Jaegers put a casualty onto the French légers, or voltigeurs, and they fall back. They don't take any casualty themselves. They stay intact. The column will rush forward, and they'll get fired on with 1 CD, actually 2 CDs. One for just their firepower, and the other one's for a column closing in from the Prussian unit here, which is the 3rd Battalion, 3rd Brigade, 16th Division. Alright, they take a casualty on the way in, and then we'll do the charge phase. Alright, so this will be a reserve unit against a reserve unit. And we'll see how this goes. Both sides will roll 2 dice. Prussians will have 1 re-roll. The French will have 2. Alright, right now it's tied up 7-7. French are going to go first, re-roll their 3. Their first support goes in and just basically falls over themselves and attack the wrong direction. Their colonel might have been a little bit hungover from wine. Now their rear support goes in, tries to help out against this Prussian attack. Well, it's actually a French attack against the Prussian position. French are up 9-7 right now. Prussians send in their support battalion. Coming in hot. Phenomenal reinforcement move by the Prussians, excuse me. That support unit comes in and makes a difference. They'll repulse the charge. The French attack column will pull up short and fire a volley with an extra CD for the point blank range, and remain unformed after the combat. 3rd Brigade of the 3rd Battalion of the 16th Division suffers a casualty from that volley. That'll end that charge. We'll come back to that one, and we just have the one down here is these guys will get a forwards bonus with the, I think it's Post of Honor. That's 1st Brigade, 8th Division. Is that right? Yeah. Rushes forward. The French will fall back. Voltigeurs will fall back in front of them. They had the skirmish tasking. The Prussian Jaegers only had 2 casualties, so they were absorbed into the charge. They would have been recalled in the movement phase. So these gentlemen, the skirmishers, will fire. Would be normally 4 shots. They're going to fire 6 shots at the lead unit as they come on in, since the skirmishers had to get out of the way. And then these guys will then we'll get a charge here with a Post of Honor and all the good things. The French voltigeurs will do 2 casualties to the lead unit. The French will also take 1 CD of damage trying to get the heck out of the way. Those gentlemen will suffer a casualty, and these guys will take a discipline check because there was a double 6 in there as they come on in. They are a reserve battalion, so they'll be looking for 8s. Alright, they are going to hit this recruit battalion after they pass their discipline check. They're enthusiastic recruits. I never actually had one of these guys active, so this should be fun. And we'll see how this fight goes. The enthusiastic rule only refers to taking discipline checks from fire, so it's not really going to be applicable in this disaster. Well, I guess if they stand in folly, but they're only going to fire 1 CD anyway. All right, the Prussians are going to have at least 3 rerolls, and the French will have 2. Prussians might get an extra reroll because they're reservists versus recruits, but I'm not sure. No, it's no extra bonuses for that. So just 3 for the Prussians and 2 for the French. French recruits come out fired up. They get a 9. Prussians coming in with a 5. They're going to reroll their 2 now. Their 2nd battalion comes in there to support and stumble over the lead battalion. It's horrible. All right, the support on the left side tries to come in and salvage this, re-rolling the 1. Holy cow, it's an ultimate nightmare. They also get lost on the way in through the skirmish, end up attacking their own unit. Borstel is screaming at people. He sends in his last reserve against this to try to push this charge over the top. The French are not taking a chance. They could re-roll their 3, but they're like, nope, we're going to win by 2. Prussian lead unit is going to fire with 2 CDs against them as they halt and volley, and they'll be unformed. The French recruits have won the day, or at least for right now. 4th Battalion, 1st Brigade of the 23rd Division takes 1 casualty from that volley as the Prussians step back and mill about there, trying to regain their momentum probably for the next in the next half hour. They'll probably attack again. All right, those are all the charges. We'll get into movement now. I'm going to re-roll. There's 1 forwards with this Prussian unit here, so I'll roll that now, and then everyone else is just standard movement, and we'll come back after that's done. Also forgot about these guys. They have a forwards as well, so we'll roll theirs too. They're going to use their regular move to change formation, and then a forwards bonus +6. All right, the movement phase was awesome. All right, we were in the southwest corner of the battlefield. This was the post of honor charge that was repulsed by this brigade, mostly of recruits. They're I got to put an unformed tag on those Prussians unit right there. These guys got their Prussians got their forwards bonus, come up in front of New Baron. These French columns will fire at their skirmishers. These gentlemen held firm. This artillery prolonged just a little bit to cover to the left. French cavalry moving up. These are the cuirassiers and carbineers units. Leger just formed up, they come out of the woods, went back into line as they cleared the rough terrain through their skirmish green there. Those gentlemen move forward in line. We'll get a better look at them from the other side. No one's in the trees now. These gentlemen were hesitant. These cannons have stayed where they are. These cavalry started moving out, heading yonder. These guys were hesitant. They didn't move. I got to move up this unit real quick. Give me 1 second. They just moved forward 9 inches to get closer to their other 2 battalions in their brigade. This attack was repulsed by the Prussians here. Got to get some troops in the redoubt at some point. Actually, I might... these guys can... they retreated, so they got to go back into regular status. They're here. That attack will go in. Those guys are supporting them. These guys moved up the line. They changed into column, and their Prussians are coming up on the road to Berlin, but going away from it, heading towards those gentlemen. They're supporting the western half of Grossbeeren. Gun stayed there. Gun stayed there. These guys did the forward move. They can't shoot. These guys started sliding over just regularly. That unit remain where they are. There's another look at that unit moving forward 6 inches. And that's the whole shabil shebangy bang. Whole lot of movement. Oh, I did recall a couple. Anyone that had 2 skirmish bases recall the Italians and the French in the center both recalled their skirmish screens. Okay, let's get into skirmish shooting. I did one final tweak. 4th Battalion, 2nd Brigade, 16th Division went into attack column. This changed formation. They're going to move into the redoubt and occupy it. That was a request of one of the friends of the channel, since we lost the artillery out of there. These guys would have done it, but they had to spend their turn reforming after retreat status. I don't think that's there. Cool. Okay. Excellent. Now we'll get into skirmish shooting. We'll start over. I don't know where we'll start. Not a lot of skirmishers. Oh, we got some right here. We'll get 4 shots from these French against the 3 bases of Jaegers. And I did remember to put the unformed marker on 1st Battalion, 1st Brigade, 8th Division after they got repulsed in that attack. All right, 4 shots from the French against the Jaegers. No effect over there. Now we'll get the light infantry's skirmish screen firing 4 shots against these Fusiliers. More ice coldness. Alright, don't think the French have any other skirmishers out there. Most of them have been recalled. This garrison can't fire. Those Jaegers aren't in range of anybody. Those Fusiliers will fire 4 shots back at the French Jaegers. Plus the garrison can also fire at them too from the western half of Grossbeeren. They had 2 casualties on them, which will blow away a skirmish screen. I'm just going to go ahead and recall that skirmishers now because they won't get to shoot again anyway. We'll get 4 shots from these Jaegers back at them. That'll do a casualty on them. I'm knocking them down to 2 bases, so I'll just recall them now. And I forgot to fire the garrison of Kleinbeeren. Will fire at this reserve unit right here with 5 shots. Alright, artillery-wise, these guns have nothing to shoot at. Everything's too danger close to fire at for the time being. These guns can fire at those guys with bounce through, but they did prolong, so it'll be an inferior blast. They take 1 casualty each. That battery, after receiving a caisson earlier in the turn, down to 5 casualties, will fire an inferior blast and counter battery against these gentlemen. That'll have no effect. Alright, so both of these guns will now fire back at that battery just got fixed and try to destroy it. That raises them back up to 6 casualties. And that's it for the other Prussian guns were all on the move or are destroyed. Volley fire, we actually have some for once. These 4 battalions will all fire at this skirmish screen. So we'll fire 4 CDs. Great shooting. They caused 3 casualties, blowing away a base and recalling the skirmish screen. I think all that's left is just a hand-to-hand over here in the western side, or the eastern side of Grossbeeren. Alright, let's figure this one out. Alright, Bavarians are reservists. They've got a Post of Honor, so they get like 2 dice for that. They get the double glory. They've got sappers, so they get 2 more. And they lose 1 for attacking a built-up area. This is not a stronghold. They'll get 9 dice. 6 goes to 5, plus 4 is 9. Yep, making sure, double checking my math. These guys are worn, or yeah, so they'll go 5 dice. So 9 against 5. Variants cause 5 casualties. They take 2 themselves. They go to 3. They're unformed. They capture the eastern half of Grossbeeren, which is a tactical objective. So the Prussians will be paying a penalty until they capture it back on initiative. Oh boy. The 2nd Battalion, 2nd Brigade of the 16th Division couldn't take that kind of firepower. They already had 7 casualties, so 12 puts them over the 10 they had was their threshold. They are dispersed and falter the brigade. Holzendorf falls back with his boys. There was no glory involved for him, so he doesn't have to take a risk to general. Just didn't have the ADCs to get it done, but the Bavarians have seized it. The rest of the unit kind of forms up outside. Their skirmish screen has been destroyed. Bowerman led that attack. He is pumped. He's going to go back and celebrate. And that'll end turn 7. And we head to, it's 12:30 as we head to turn 8. All right, welcome back to turn 8. It's 12:30 p.m. Last turn before end of part 2. I was talking with Scott, not last night, maybe it was, I can't remember. So with the time change, it's always a mess. He has some great maps. I think they're from the 1860s on his computer. I'm not sure where he got them from. You'll have to ask him. But they're really highly detailed of the area. Of course, you have to kind of, it'll be much more built up because it's 50 years later, but it really gives you some good topographics and references to and how far apart these battlefields were from each other, or how close they were actually. Just looking at his map and then going back and referencing it, my battlefield, it was like about 5 miles wide. I don't know if we got it correct with the ground measurements, prescribed by the General d'Armée rules, but this is supposed to be like 5 miles across. And then Scott's battlefield is technically that direction. So it made it easier for the cavalry to get here because it's southeast. The road coming out of Kleinbeeren goes like a southeast beeline towards Blankenfelde, which is another 5 miles down the road. So these guys aren't literally sitting there looking like right next to them like the last battle was. These guys are actually, they're down the road a bit. They can hear the guns going. They can probably hear some stuff. I'm not sure the width of Scott's battlefield. I haven't done any research on that. But yeah, it was kind of neat. The fact that, you're just seeing it all. It was kind of neat. That's my little side thing before we start doing corps orders. I believe the French won last time. They did. All right, we'll start off with Oudinot's ADCs. And by ADCs, I mean corps orders. I thought I tried to record there. I think I paused it too quick. So we're bouncing back. Oudinot has all 4 of his corps orders available. Now go over to Laptiev now and see how he does. He gets his red and his blue dice. Didn't do too well that time. Definitely could have done better. All right, roll for all 3 French divisions at once for their ADC availability. Bowerman rocks it out with 6. Marchand kind of had a panic attack, got 2. And Richard gets 4. All right. I think Oudinot is going to come right out of the gate and support Marchand with the red ADC. All right, it's time for Prussian ADCs. They do have one faltering brigade in Kraft's division after... Oh, no, it's not Kraft's division. It's Vuich's division after they lost the eastern half of Grossbeeren. Vuich gets one ADC. Immediately, Laptiev sends him an additional core ADC to help him out. The red dice is gone. Kraft gets 3, and Borstal also gets 3. All right, starting on the left, Richard is going to do an ADC reroll on all 3 of his brigades, and then do an infantry assault on Padalabini's Italians, and send them in against those gentlemen, Prussians coming right at them. Everything is active, and the Italians will surge forward, going after those Prussians ahead of them. Whose brigade is that? I always forget. That's my fault. Steinwehr's. He is over the 3rd Brigade, 27th Division. Sorry, I have to read, and I couldn't film at the same time. I can't walk and chew gum either. Marchand is going to do a reroll on all of his battalions, or of his brigades, except for the Bavarians. It's going to let them kind of do their own thing. Spurl's Bavarians go hesitant inside of the eastern half of Grossbeeren, and boom, everything else is active for them. And then finally, we'll go over to Bauerman's boys, and let me think about this for a minute. It's going to do an infantry assault and a reroll for the Swiss, infantry assault and a reroll for the 1st Brigade, 25th. Just a reroll on these gentlemen of 2nd Brigade of the 25th, and a reroll on the cavalry. After finally getting it together last turn, Derut shuts it down again. Obviously doesn't know what to do, but both of those infantry assaults will go in up there. All right, Vuich is going to spend both of his ADCs on this, stopping this from turning into a nightmare. So a reroll and a brigade morale order. That's his division. Now we slide over to where's he at? Kraft's going to do all 3 of his on all of his brigades, and that's exactly what Borstal's going to do as well. So we'll start off with Vuich. Hulsendorf rallies back to hesitant. Unfortunately, Thuman goes hesitant. I was hoping to do something there. And then, what's his name over here on the left? I can't remember this guy's name is. I'm having a blank. Where is he? There he is. Magenhofer. He's active. But there are 2 faltering brigades in the same division. That'll cause a negative modifier for initiative roll for Laptiev. All right, sliding over to Kraft, trying to keep this party going. He's got brigades here, there. The cavalry can't reach them. These guys might need to form square because they're really close. Probably should have formed it last turn. Everything's active for him, which is awesome. And then on the far right, Borstal's got brigades all over the place, as he's got his 1st Brigade, 2nd Brigade, and a 3rd Brigade way back over here, coming down the gut on the Berlin Road. Schulter goes hesitant on the far Prussian right. Also, Wegner goes hesitant. He's defending New Baron. And the only thing active is these guys going right down the Berlin Road, which is Herdig. It's not good. Okay. Oh, so now we'll go right into initiative. Oudinot will be rolling 2d6, and General Laptiev will be rolling 4d6, taking a lower 2 dice. What a great try by Laptiev, but he loses initiative. Oudinot will win, and with those 2 6s, that'd have been awesome. Too bad they had to roll all 4 6s to get an extra CNC command he could have given to somebody else. And the French will have initiative once again. We'll go right into the charge phase. The French have 3 charges. These gentlemen will charge out of the built-up area against them. It's going to be a head-on charge. They'll be supported by those guys coming over the walls. This brigade here will charge these guys, so kind of separate them so they can't support each other. We'll start off with the Swiss coming over the walls. These guys will be able to shoot 1 CD at them, and the Swiss will become unformed as they cross over the walls. No casualties from that Prussian column firing at the Swiss as they come over the wall. I know with being unformed, they're going to be rolling 3d6, and the Prussians will be rolling, I think, 2d6. Prussians have a 6. The Swiss have a 3. They have 1 reroll. The Prussians don't have any. Let's do the reroll. Here comes the supporting battalion. Or it ends up being a tie. The Prussians, the Swiss come over the walls, kind of put them in a block formation. They're unformed. These gentlemen crossed over into there. They are also unformed as they came over the wall. And that'll be sorted out at the end of the turn in hand-to-hand. Over here we'll have this battalion will slam into these guys. They'll get closing fire, and there'll be 2 supports. Prussians will have no supports. I forgot they will get an extra CD. They get 1 hit. I'll roll that again. These guys weren't really considered a column. They just kind of came pouring over the walls. That's why I did not give it to these gentlemen. So 1 extra CD. They've got 1 hit already. French take 1 casualty. They come pouring in against the Prussians. Let's see how it goes. 2 supports for the French, none for the Prussians. All right, 5-7. Prussians are winning right now. French are going to re-roll their 1. Oh, their supporting battalion comes in like a champ and just crushes things. They're going to win by 3. Let's see what that does. Oh, the French win. They're going to take the ground. The Prussians will get pushed back, take 4 CDs. They'll come back this direction. They'd probably unform both of these units pouring through this hand-to-hand here. The Swiss are already unformed, so I'm going to hang unformed on the Prussians. French move forward, occupy the redoubt, put their skirmishers off to the left to pour fire into these Prussians. The rest of their troops moved up. These gentlemen fell back to here, took another casualty. Kind of running out of room back here. If these guys lose, there's really nowhere to go. They're probably going to get smashed off the board. It's just getting kind of ugly back here in this corner, but we'll see how I feel. If it's close, they might go this way and put them behind Grossbeeren somewhere, but it's getting ugly. Yeah, baby. The Italians surge forward and slam into these Prussians out in front of New Baron. Oh, it's going to be a battle for the ages. The Italians will get 3 supports. The Prussians will get 2. Let's roll some dice. Oh, we'll get some closing fire first. From the lead Prussian unit in the center, we'll fire 2 CDs at the oncoming French, who are actually Italian. Let's get this straight, people. 3rd Brigade, 3rd Battalion, 23rd, or 3rd Battalion, 3rd Brigade, 23rd Division. Get that right, please. They suffer 1 casualty from their closing fire from those Prussians. Roll for some death and destruction. Here it comes. Right now it's a draw. 7-7. Italians going to re-roll. They have 3 re-rolls. They're going to re-roll their 2. Their 2nd battalion has no effect, really. Kind of crash into the back of the lead battalion. The next battalion to the left pours into the hand-to-hand, tries to make a difference. They push it to 9. Right now the Italians are winning by 2. The Prussians send in their battalion on their right to support the lead battalion. Huge impact. All right, now the Italians send in their trailing battalion in the rear, trying to tie this up or win it. I obviously can't do math good because there's no way they could have won that unless I rolled a 7 on a 6-sided dice. And the Italians somehow pull a 6 out and tie it up. Oh, it's going to be straight up hand-to-hand at the end. Oh, it's going to be great. All right, that'll end the charge phase. We still got 2 melees that'll be at the end of the turn. All right, I'm juiced up for the end of the turn. Now we got 2 hand-to-hands to go. All right, now it's movement phase. French will move first, followed by the Prussians. All right, quick rules question. If you're charging or attacking a built-up area, the way the rules read, I think you have to charge no matter what. But because there is no charge phase, you just move into contact, and then hand-to-hand or melee takes place at the end of the turn. So I was thinking possibly you could move into it anyway, but when you read the rules, it says charge hand-to-hand combat occurs after units come in contact after a charge. So I forgot to move this unit in contact with the eastern half of Grossbeeren in the charge phase. So I'm going to allow them to do it now because I was assuming I could do it in the movement phase, but the way the rules read, I think that had to be done in the charge phase. But I'm going to I had that unit just sitting there waiting to go. So I don't want to penalize them for just my poor remembrance of the rules. So if you're going to charge a built-up area or village, yes, the charge phase doesn't happen, but you still have to initiate the contact in the charge phase. And I'm 99% sure that's the way it's supposed to be. So that's the way it's going to be. So I'm going to do a little time travel and go back and just have these guys in. You don't need an infantry assault because you're sending 1 unit in. And these other guys will be close enough to support if it goes to a second round. But that's what we're going to do. Just to take care of business, I'll have these gentlemen fire at these gentlemen. I technically could have 2 units go in and attack this damn built-up area. But that would be... I think you only attack one side. That's another question. Can you go 2 at once? I don't know. I don't think you can. I think a single unit can attack a single unit. So I'm going to... Prussians are going to nominate this unit, and if it goes to, in turn... What are we doing? Turn 9. If they get repulsed, these gentlemen will go in next. All right. That's the way we're doing it. I think that's right. All right. Before I forget, let's do the 5 shots at these guys closing in. Put some smoke there. Instead, the defenders are occupying that church there, firing out the windows. They do 2 casualties to the those gentlemen charging in against their western side of their built-up area. All right, I'm going to do the overhead view thing. Shoot, this is a mess. We're over in the northeast corner, over by Kleinbeeren. And that's the eastern half of Grossbeeren. And we got the Swiss here. We got the hand-to-hand you saw. This is a big melee scrum. This is the unit that got shoved back from fighting in the redoubt, right next to it. Just a gigantic traffic jam of mess over here. This French brigade's right here. These are Prussians on the side. They got some skirmishers there that'll fire at them. All right, that's kind of, you probably knew some of that, but it's good to refamiliarize yourself with what's going on in this nightmare. All right, movement phase wise, these French moved up 9 inches. Same thing over here. Their skirmish line moved up. Artillery moved up. They won't be shooting. These guys were hesitant. Again, big shocker. They stayed where they were. Technically, you couldn't move towards the enemy, but if you look down there, there's Prussians down there, so that's moving towards the enemy, so I just let them stay static. These guys changed formation. They're going to support the garrison in Grossbeeren. The Leger battalion stayed in line and shifted to the left. They're going to engage the Prussians that changed formation coming out there, and those guys are going in. They sent 1 battalion out in line. I'll go put some cotton balls on those guys. And you've got a Prussian formation here, firing against them. The French cavalry had to move first. That was a big advantage of the movement phase for the Prussians, because they decided not to attack there because they would have been going into those guns. So they're moving across the back of the battlefield, screened by these guys. And that allowed these guys to say, hey, they're not coming for us. So they went into, they stayed in line formation. They pivoted to meet the Legere. You know this hand-to-hand here. Here's the Italians fighting the Prussians. It's going to turn to a massive hand-to-hand. These guys changed formation. They did not move towards them. They went into line. These guys went first to shield their recruits. You got the 2 reserve battalions up front, recruits in the rear. They're not as powerful, or not as... they just don't save on discipline checks as well out, but they just kind of moved into line to meet these gentlemen back here. Lots of cotton balls. Love it. These guys angled just in case this goes south over here. They won't get taken from behind. Huge open space here in the northwest corner. No reserve, no nothing. You do have these gentlemen here behind New Baron. They would have to pivot to fill in that gap if everything goes wrong over there. This gun just moved up. It won't be able to fire. These guys moved last turn. They can fire. They can fire. They can fire. They can fire over the top into those French back there, not to their own guys. I'll get the cotton balls down on them. That garrison's still there. These gentlemen, I kind of grandfathered into a charge there. They're here to support. Their skirmishers fell back. These guys are still supporting the western half of Grossbeeren. Bavarians in there. They'll be defending against this attack. These guys will go in later if they need to. Next turn. And we're back where we started. So, give you a view of the table. And come on back. What a nightmare. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. There you go. There's your overhead view. And let's get to some skirmish shooting. If there is, I think there's at least some. French shooting first. All is right with the world. Those gentlemen that came out down the road to Berlin now have cotton balls in front of them. Yay! Alright, I got some pictures. All is right with the world now. Yes! We're getting some firing lines. We're into the volley fire part of the battle, which is... and the hand-to-hand, which is just awesome. Alright, let's do this. Alright, these French skirmishers, 5 shots into those Prussian gentlemen. Wow, terrible shooting. They forgot to put musket balls in. Wow. 5 more shots from these guys as they run up. Forgot to give them cotton balls firing at these skirmishers right here. They put a casualty on them. I'm looking around. I don't think there's any more skirmishers that are still out on the front lines. Most of the garrisons have fired. This garrison can't shoot just because there's guys in front of them. These 4 Jaegers here, or 3 Jaegers, can fire 4 shots into those French skirmishers there. They raise them to 2 casualties. They do 1 more. That'll end skirmish firing for both sides. We go into artillery. French artillery has not been good. Most of it's moving over here. This gun did prolong, but it can fire and do bounce through at effective range on these guys. That French horse artillery batteries fired 3 times, and all 3 times they had a fatigue casualty on themselves. They are a menace. I think Udno is going to ride up and shoot their lieutenant in the back of the head. They do get bounced through casualty. The other gun to their right can fire at the same target. Let's see if they can do any better with bounce through. Yes, they can, as they put 2 casualties on the 1st Battalion, 2nd Brigade, 17th Division. Bounce through is not effective. They'll also force a discipline check on that unit. They're a line unit. They need a 7 to save. They absolutely love it. All right. Bro, that's the end of the French guns. The Prussian guns are going to try to put the French out of business here, as all three of these batteries are going to fire on that same unit right there and try to eliminate them from existence. That gun's up to 8 casualties now. This gun took 1 fatigue casualty, and that'll end artillery fire. Next time they'll have all 4 guns online. It should be they're either really going to hurt themselves, or they're going to do a lot of damage to the French. All right, we'll start down here for volley fire. Finally going to do some volley fire. I'm kind of excited. These guys in line, reserve unit firing straight ahead into these Prussians. They obviously haven't practiced with their muskets lately. They get a fire discipline. This unit has 5 casualties. They're going to fire straight ahead into the unit next to them. They have been firing. They get 3 casualties, and they have to take a discipline check as reservists, looking for an 8. Blue dice can make a discipline check, but they can't. They can't shoot half the time. All right, these Légers firing straight ahead into these Prussians. 2 casualties, taking them to 5. Now, these other Légers battalion will fire into these guys that just change formation of the line. They hammer them for 3 casualties. They have to take a discipline check, which they pass. Nice job. All right, now we'll start there, and we'll fire Prussian return fire. All right, Prussian 1st Battalion, 3rd Brigade, 8th Division, returning fire at the Légers. Holy show, it's done. They did move, so they get the regular 10, not the 10 plus. They inflict 3 casualties on them, forcing a discipline check. They are lined, saving 7s. French pass. All right, these Prussian reserve unit with 5 casualties firing straight ahead into these gentlemen. They inflict 3 casualties and force a discipline check on those gentlemen. Looking for a 7 as well. They're up to 4. Yeah, 4 casualties now. They also make their discipline check. Everyone's pretty brave so far. They're in hand-to-hand. We'll go over to these guys over here. All right, so we've got this battalion with 3 casualties firing into that reserve unit of the French. Oh, they're going to be, hurting. They're going to go up to 8 casualties. They're going to make a discipline check as enfant perdu. They stagger under the onslaught of that volley, going unformed. And then the final Prussian Reserve unit, the 1st Battalion, 1st Brigade of the 8th Division, will fire into these gentlemen who weren't able to do anything to them. 2nd Battalion, 1st Brigade, 23rd Division takes a whack. They're lucky the Prussians moved. They take 3 casualties. Sorry about your luck, gentlemen. All right, they got to take a discipline check as reservists looking for 8s. Martel's got some mumbling in the ranks here. It's just 2 lead reserve units. Both go unformed. One has fire discipline. It's totally out of control. All right, that'll end the volley fire phase. Now we'll go into hand-to-hand. Might as well start off down here with Palombini's Italians going in against Team Prussia. Both sides will be rolling 5 dice, just straight up. Pretty pathetic hand-to-hand. The Italians take 1 casualty. They do 2 casualties. They win by 1. They retreat the Prussians, who both sides have 2 casualties now, and that's where we're at right now. Now we'll go over to the other hand-to-hand, which will have the Swiss fighting against these Austrians here that aren't Austrians. Sorry about that. Both sides getting, they both get 4 dice, sorry. Prussians are victorious. 4th Battalion, 3rd Brigade, 16th Division. They take 2 casualties, go up to 3. They're unformed. They take the ground. The Swiss are pushed back. They take 3 casualties. They're up to 7. And they're in retreat status. And that's it. What a turn. So they're fighting their way out of this hole. It's not bad. A lot of units still out there. A lot of craziness. But that is the end of part 2 of this battle. I'm excited. Just a quick flyby over the battlefield before I do my final kind of like message at the end of the video. Oh, wait a minute, I got one more hand-to-hand. Oh, I forgot. Alright, so, sorry, my daughter called me. I still have to do this fight of these Prussians attacking the built-up area at Grossbeeren. Almost forgot about that. Awesome. Can't have enough hand-to-hand. But I'll go ahead and knock this out now. We've got lots of stuff going on. French cavalry's all over the place. These guys are terrible. They're not even moving at all. But you get a quick view of the battlefield. And we'll see what happens over on the east side of Grossbeeren. And then we'll do our little final talk, and then we'll be done with part 2. These gentlemen will be rolling 4. These guys will be rolling 4 as well. No, they're rolling 5. And we'll see how it goes. Oh, and this is what you want to finish up the turn and part 2. Bavarians win by 1. They inflict 3 on them. They take 2 casualties. They're going to fight on. So we're going to do another round. Both of these units are now unformed with 5 casualties. These gentlemen are going to jump in. And so are those Bavarians back there. And they'll be rolling 5 dice each. And the 2 lead units will be rolling 4 each. So 9 dice apiece coming at you. So General Herdig was kind of hoping I forgot about that scrum at the eastern half of Grossbeeren. His unit goes in, gets a 2nd battalion involved. It gets ugly. They suffer 5 casualties, only inflicting 2 on the defenders. These guys are blown out with 8 casualties in retreat status. These guys are up to 2 in retreat. These guys took the opportunity to flip-flop. Now the unit with 5 casualties unformed outside. And you've got the new fresh unit who's unformed inside with 2 casualties. Probably ready to take the attack from these guys next turn. But that's how we end turn 8. I'm like thinking about it. We're going to turn 9. And it's awesome. And we'll see in a second. It's going to be 1 p.m. when we come back. Alright, I did my whole ending video for this and realized my camera battery had died about probably barely into it. So that didn't work out too well. Alright, so at least I'll consider that like a dress rehearsal. So we're at the end of turn 8. It'll be 1 p.m. turn 9 when we get back. Scott and I are kind of decided that. I know he said that at the end of his videos. Just finished watching his part 1, and I mean, sorry, part 2, and it was great. So now we're back at that point again where it's time to decide what you would like the Prussians to do. If you weren't privy to the end of the tactics that were decided at the end of first part of my battle, we got some emails, got some comments in the video. One was to attack on the right, on the western side, which has worked out well. A little bit of a malfunction here now that the Italians have driven off 1 Prussian battalion, but the other Prussian unit up there is lined up against the French on the far western side, and are doing quite well. Their musketry is reigning supreme. So that's pretty good. And across the line in this first round of really volley fire we've had so far in this game, the Prussians are doing phenomenally well. The French are actually lucky that the Prussians had moved. Otherwise, they'd have taken a lot more casualties. It would have been a lot more devastating. But we'll see if that continues. These blue dice have been very fickle this entire battle, especially for the French artillery. That horse artillery is doing horrible. But it's go ahead and send comments, send me emails if you got my email. Let me know what you think the Prussians should do, or just continue what they're doing now. Of course, we've got one faltering brigade here. It's Hardig. It's been driven back from his initial assault, or the Prussian initial counterattack against the eastern half of Grossbeeren to take it back. I did realize that I forgot to further punish the Prussians on their initiative roll, because they should have technically had another 1d6 on top of the 46 they already rolled for their hesitant brigades because of losing a strategic objective. But nothing came of it because they lost anyway. So no difference between 5d6 and 4d6. But I'll try to remember that in the future. But that was one mistake that I did realize. Also caught the infantry assault into a built-up area. I thought I could just move into contact, but after reading the rules, melee and hand-to-hand occurs only after a charge. So kind of went back and corrected that. And that will happen again over here, as now that the first strike has gone in, there's another whole Prussian battalion or brigade. Now we've got Holzendorf's 2nd Brigade, 16th Division, ready to attack again. Thankfully for the Bavarians, it did go to a second round of combat, which allowed them to filter in a new brigade into the garrison duties. But they are unformed, so they'll be throwing one less die if the attack happens in turn 9, which I'm sure it will. Unless there's a hesitant, then I'll have to figure something else out. But we've got French and Swiss pushing hard over here on the eastern half of the board. We just did have a Prussian victory. Now we've got a Prussian unit on the outside of Kleinbeeren, possibly ready to attack back into there and try to take that objective back. So it is seesawing, but for the most part, it's been a Bavarian, Swiss, and French wrecking ball over here. But we still got patches or pockets of Prussian units still in the vicinity of this eastern half of Grossbeeren. I've got some broken down units back here, but for the most part, it's pretty much still intact battle line, ready for part 3 of this battle. Over on this side of the French really were passive. This move by the Italians, by Palombini, really was their initial push on this side, where they lurched out and attacked the Prussians. We're able to drive off one Prussian battalion, but for the most part, Scott wanted me to just not really engage over there, hoping to draw out the Prussians, which actually happened. There was a decision by the coalition command to attack on this western flank, and they've driven all the way across the board. That's what I was a big stressor in this first part of this, my first attempt to record this video, this ending, sorry, before my battery was dead the entire time. This has been a fantastic game. General d'Armée games are awesome anyway, but sometimes I don't get enough movement in some of my games, and the fact that I've had cavalry dash all the way across the board, I've had Prussian line go all the way across the board over here. I've had a Prussian line battalion come all the way down the back side and get onto the road to Berlin, and now they've moved up and they've tried to attack the western half, the eastern half of Grossbeeren. They've also got a line battalion out here doing volley fire with the French Légers, who have come all the way up and now are spreading out. It's been a lot of movement, and especially with the tactical input from the community, it's been fantastic. And the tactical input from Scott, because he's been trying to dictate. He might have to counter a little bit here, because now the Prussians are starting to dictate some stuff as well, as we are now they're preparing to maybe take back this objective, maybe take back that one, Kleinbeeren. Getting ready to drive off a whole French brigade over there of Richard's division. But you've got French cavalry all across the back. And there's a lot of things that could happen. The cavalry could be the big deciding factor, but we do have a huge firing line of Prussian guns up here now on Windmill Hill. Now they're 4 batteries strong, so if each one's 8 guns, we're talking 32 guns in the center here that can just lay down some love. Could be good. French are moving up their guns on this side and over here. But definitely the artillery game, a lot of the, you know, if you think of a lot of the game within the games, the artillery game has gone the Prussian way. The skirmish game went a lot for the Prussians, so that was really good. The volley part of the game is going the Prussian way right now. But the only thing that's really kind of going the French way and their allies is the charge and the hand-to-hand has majority gone to them. They've done quite well with that, which, you know, that's kind of been the deciding factor. A lot of these units are still reserve units. If you've seen part 2 of Scott's battle, you'll start seeing a lot of units starting to pop towards the end of the part 2 on his, because they're just hitting that 10 threshold. And, you know, those extra 2 casualties seem to make a big difference. It also gets pretty tough to make discipline checks on units that are, you know, instead of needing a 7, you're needing a 8. And then I had an enfant perdu save over there where I needed a 9. I got an 8 and I couldn't even make it. So those are a bit more difficult. But we've got a lot of units out here with 7, 8, 5, 8 casualties, especially from here over for the Prussians, that could be ugly when they get back into combat at some point in this battle. But that's what we got. I wanted to get part 2 done, and wanted to start getting your input on what part 3 should look like. It's going to be a big snowstorm coming to Kentucky. I think half of the United States is about to get buried in snow. Also, just to give you a heads up, we've got our email group together, and we're doing a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff, getting ready for the Battle of Berlin, which is going to be, this is big, but that's going to be titanic, and it's going to be really neat because we've got Dom from Boots on the Table, we got Scott from Check Your Leader TV, we got Roundy and from Dicey Tactics and his buddy Josh, and then we've got my table. So we're going to have a battle west of Berlin that will take place in tables in 4 different countries in the world, which is going to be great. We got New Zealand, Australia, United States, and England. So you're going to have a multi-transcontinental continuous battlefield. I think Dom's going to be on the far northern side, the right flank of the coalition army with his Swedes. Scott and I will be in the center somewhere, and then Josh and Roundy will be down at the bottom, or Wayne, excuse me, are going to be down at the bottom on the coalition left. And I think there's going to be 6 different corps involved in this, and everyone's going to be using General d'Armée 2. And this happens on the exact same day, so as this battle now. So it's not going to take place on the same day in real time, because it's going to be a lot of stuff. But the AR 1813 campaign is on pause right now, while all of this stuff is happening on the same day. Hello, my kitty cat. This cat is awesome. I can't let her go on the table because she's just massive. I think she's just barely a year old, and she's like so obese. But that's what's happening. And second we get done with this, it won't be long till we start the next battle. Scott is at a convention now doing his demonstration games in Australia. He's doing a GDA game in Dave Brown's Victoria. I can't remember which one it was. It's one of the ones I fought with the ditch. I think it's La Hermidad, but I'm not sure. I might have it wrong. My brain is like all consumed in this right now, so if I got that wrong, I apologize. But that's what's going on, and my phone is ringing, and that'll be a good time to I'm gonna go upstairs. But that's it. Have a good weekend, and I'm gonna go take care of helping with dinner and everything else, and we'll get out the next part of this as soon as we can. But hope I didn't even get mine out next before Scott, because he's going to be delayed because he's going to be gone all weekend. But we'll talk to you soon, and I hope you enjoyed this, and have a good weekend. See you guys. Thanks for being part of this fantastic hobby and community. We'll see you. Bye.